How do I describe what I've been going through the last week or so? So it's been several days now of feeling like I'm essentially stuck in a fight or flight response where my body is just feeling kind of extreme amounts of anxiety, sensations through my body, like my stomach is flip-flopping. I feel nauseous. I feel like I'm going to throw up. My chest is tight, or it feels like there's pressure on it. My heart feels like it's racing really fast. I don't feel in control of my thoughts. I feel like I'm just on the brink of basically fight or flight. And it's felt like that for days on end. And I think you're really only supposed to be stuck in that state for maybe 20 minutes at most, 20 to 60 minutes at most. And so the toll that this has been taking on my body of being stuck in this heightened state has been a lot. And it's been a little bit scary because it really does feel like I'm about to die, is basically what it feels like, where my body is just in this overdrive state. I don't really know how to get a grip on it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's in this state. And it really just feels like my body is going to give out on me at any minute and I'm going to die. And so that's, I guess, why I titled this video this, because that is the sensation that I've been dealing with. And so perhaps to back this up a little bit, I have been dealing with bouts of anxiety for a couple weeks now that kind of came and went to begin with. And then it's Wednesday now, and starting Sunday, I started to just have these like really, really intense anxiety nonstop. There was no break. And so, I've been really trying to figure out, well, why is this happening? First of all, I guess, what is happening and why is this happening? I don't know how to deal with this. And so I reached out to my therapist, first of all, to see if I could get an appointment with her to kind of talk about what I'm experiencing and perhaps sift through a little bit of why this is happening or what I can do in the meantime to get through this. And she also recommended reaching out to my psychiatrist, who I also did as well. I was able to get in, I think it was the next day, for just a half-hour online check-in with my therapist. It was helpful in terms of kind of validating the experience that I was having, and it's very difficult and whatnot, but she also gave me some tips about ways to kind of work through it with my body and with my mind. And so things like using a sun lamp sort of thing, or using herbal teas to calm myself down before bed and to get into the calmer state before bed, and focusing on regulating my circadian rhythm through things like that. She also talked about distracting my mind. So whether that's watching a nothing show on TV or reading a really easy to read book, whatever it may be. And so I tried to do those things as well. She kind of recommended talking with my psychiatrist about medication adjustments too. And so when I first reached out to my psychiatrist, they initially said, oh yeah, he can see you like a week into November. And I was like, no. Like I feel like I'm going to die. Like I need help now. So they got back to me and said, okay, well, you can come in to see him on Friday. And again, it's Wednesday right now. So I'm kind of stuck in this period where I still don't really know what's happening. I don't really know how to make it stop. And I'm kind of just waiting until I can see my psychiatrist to talk about potential med changes and whatnot. There's kind of a lot going on in my life right now that could be potential contributors to what I'm experiencing right now. And I think the main one probably is, I shared recently that I went back to school to get my master's of social work, but for many reasons, which perhaps I will get into in a later video, I made the decision to drop out or to withdraw from school. Last week, I think I finalized that, or maybe a couple weeks ago now, that was finalized. And so I've had a lot of, I guess, feelings and processing that's needed to happen around that. And perhaps there's something there that I just haven't been able to deal with. And so it's coming out in this kind of psychosomatic way through anxiety in my body. I don't know. That could be part of it. The season change has also happened really abruptly. And historically, season changes have been really, really difficult for me. I've ended up hospitalized many Octobers over the past 10 years or so, going from 20 degrees Celsius one day to minus 10 degrees Celsius just a couple days later. That's like a 30-degree change. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's an even bigger change. Is really hard on, I think, anyone probably, but I think especially when you deal with affective disorders and whatnot, it can be really, really difficult to make that change. And it can be difficult on my body and my mind. And so perhaps that's another layer. I started getting really, really anxious about different responsibilities I have, such as coaching my daughter's soccer team, something that really shouldn't be laden in an anxiety. It should be fun and, good for me. But I just began to get really bogged down by this anxiety, and it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled into this huge thing that I had no semblance of control over anymore. And so, I thought it would be helpful to share that I'm experiencing this difficult period, this difficult whatever it is that I'm facing. I don't even really know what to call it, whether it's anxiety, whether it's psychosis, because it's also leading to increased psychotic symptoms as well, having this extra stress on my body. It's leading me to have increased hallucinations. I'm feeling more paranoid and things like that. And so, I don't really know if this is just this huge anxiety attack that I can't really get out of, or if this is slipping into psychosis again, or I don't know. And so I had reservations about sharing this because I'm aware that the videos where I am showing myself suffering get a lot more views. And I don't love that, because I do want to show, the positive sides or the resilience involved with living with an illness like schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. And, the title of the channel is Living Well with Schizophrenia, and I want to embody that. But, I do think that it's important to show that it's not always perfect. Of course, it's not always perfect. It's not always easy. And I'm not always as high functioning, if I can call it that, as I portray. And there are periods of time where I struggle a great deal with my illness. And this is kind of one of those times where I'm struggling a lot. So I just kind of wanted to give a bit of an update, some insight into what I'm currently dealing with. Hopefully Friday, my psychiatrist appointment will provide more insight or direction in terms of what to do. I've always kind of had a bit of a flexible relationship with my psychiatrist, where he kind of trusts me to make certain adjustments with my medications. And so I have a PRN, a medication I take as needed, an antipsychotic that I actually took yesterday because I was beginning to have a lot of symptoms that I was feeling distress over. And so I took that PRN yesterday, and it really helped to kind of sedate me. I also have a PRN of Ativan, so anti-anxiety medication. I took a double dose of that, and it really had no effect on the anxiety that I was feeling. And so again, I'm not really sure how to convey how intense this anxiety is and how distressing and impairing it has been for me. But anyway, I'm feeling a little bit worried that there is a med change looming on my horizon. Back in June, my medication stopped working, and I fell into a psychotic episode. And now this is starting to happen now. And it makes me worry a little bit that my medication is not as effective as it once was, and I'm perhaps building up a tolerance to it, or I don't know what it may be. I'm worried that, I might need to switch up my antipsychotic. And why that's worrisome is just that, med changes are not easy. They're kind of never easy, and there's always a lot to deal with, a lot of new side effects, a lot of increased symptoms, challenges with mood involved in the process of switching medications. And so that's not really something I'm looking forward to, and is something I would like to avoid if possible. But I also don't really want to keep going through these kinds of episodes if they're just not working anymore. We will see what happens Friday with my psychiatrist appointment. I will likely update you guys after that. Perhaps I will have more answers as to why this is happening, or even what exactly is happening, and what I'm going to do about it. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I will have some answers soon. And yeah, thanks for listening to this little update. I hope that this video is showing, again, one of the ways in which I struggle with my illness of schizoaffective disorder, and just kind of helping to shed a little bit more of an honest light on what it can be like living with an illness like this, but also showing you that, it can still be navigated. Like for the past 4 or 5 days, I literally feel like I'm dying, but there are steps that I'm taking, reaching out to my therapist, reaching out to my psychiatrist, leaning on my support. Rob has been really great throughout all this, and just figuring out how to get through this, how to figure out what's going on and how to get through it. Rob has been continuously saying to me, Lauren, you will get through this. Like, this will end, you will get through this. And so kind of repeating that mantra that this isn't it, it will get better and we will figure out what's going on. So thank you. Thank you for watching this. I hope you don't relate to this experience, because if you have experienced something like this, it's awful and I wouldn't wish this on anyone. But if you have experienced something like this, hopefully it's validating to hear about someone else's experience with it, because honestly, it's confusing and it feels a bit like you're losing your grip on yourself, because there is no reason that I'm aware of for the all-encompassing, all-consuming, horrific levels of anxiety that I'm experiencing. And so it feels like I'm just losing grip of my mind in terms of going through this and not knowing why or where it's come from or what to do about it. It's been really difficult. And if you've gone through something difficult like this, know that you're not alone. So here's to figuring this out. Hopefully I figure it out soon. And yeah, thanks for following along. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.